fucking bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swirl podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
And I go by DJ Swirl.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we get started tonight, we give a shout out to Royalty Nutrition. That's royaltynutrition.com. And to help me out with that further, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, it's Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Royalty Nutrition is a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that doesn't automatically go to using the cheapest ingredients possible when they make their supplements for you. Check them out. Use the discount code 37HJKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My next shout out tonight will be to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with a Z.com. They are a fitness apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym. They also make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Check them out. Use the discount code JAKE15 to save you 15% on your order there as well. Patreon.com/HateJoward. That is my personal Patreon page. I post workouts that I've done for people over the years. I also do blog style writing. And once a month, I do a solo show called Hake Rants, where I talk about topics of the month. DJ Swirl, tell them about the Buy to Buy Empire.
Yeah!
That's right, Buy to Buy. We specialize in fast, friendly, on-demand moving, delivery, staging, TV mounting, and assembly, which means we help everyone from housewives shopping at Home Goods to bros DIYing it at Lowe's, but most frequently property managers and real estate agents moving their clients from their current space to their new place. If you lack time or you got a bad, we're here to support you, giving you peace of mind from the time you buy to the time we say goodbye. I want to give a shout out really quick to a couple of my regular customers who are not only repeat, but they also are repeat referrals. I want to give a shout out to Miss Juanita and Miss Cheryl Lynn. Not sure if you will ever see this, but I'm going to try and post this in a place that you do because I am appreciative. Thank you so much for your help and keep it up. What you see right here is Buy to Buy Studios. We do creative consulting, we do remote content creation, and post-production. That means that we help you at every phase, whether you're just now putting pen to paper, you've got something established, or you're already done and you need editing, and you need the final touches put on it. It's Buy to Buy Studios, buytobuy.com, BUYTOBYE.com/studios. Jake, what are we talking about tonight, sir?
Well, do you want to tackle the pamphlet first?
Let's get in, whatever.
All right. So this last weekend, I was in my office doing cut stuff and making a short here for the show so we could promote social media. And my wife had bought me a couple books a couple years ago that I haven't touched just for my birthday, like things that she thought I'd be interested in. And one of them was called As Man Thinketh.
By James Allen, written in, this is 1902.
This is the original 1902 edition.
Nice.
And it's not really a hard read. It's not long, big letters, lots of space. And it's actually something that I would suggest. But what I appreciated about it was while this was a man in England in 1902, he could have really thrown a bunch of, Jesus will fix it in there.
Sure.
And he didn't. Of course, it's As Man Thinketh, so it's written in not modern day inclusive language, but you could use your smart brain. And it was what I first noticed right away is this gentleman wrote this book over 100 years ago, this pamphlet over 100 years ago. And a lot of the stuff he's saying is a lot of what you hear mindset coaches talk about on social media
Yep.
and their shows and whatever else they do. And it wasn't a strict pick yourself up by your bootstraps book, because I know that that's a phrase we've kind of dogged on a little bit here on the show, DJ Swirl in particular.
Yeah.
But but it's more of it was more of a understand your situation, find ways to make the best of your situation, and that will open up your thought process into how to make your situation better or get into a better situation.
Yeah.
It wasn't a guarantee, the moment you think positively, everything's going to be great. It was a no, start thinking positively and find where you can make little steps along the way to improve your existence.
Right.
I wrote an email to a bunch of my athletes, past athletes, and DJ Swirl. And I gave you a shout out in it because we've talked about this a lot. I didn't include you dropped out of your first college, but
That's,
you dropped out of your first college after
yeah.
just didn't go. You went to school for your passion, audio engineering. You're a second generation DJ. You're pretty good at it, from what I understand.
Yeah. The rumors.
But then you got married and got an office gig, and you're like, this ain't it. But then you still found your way to create your business. Your business isn't even in the iteration of how you created it, but it's still functioning because you changed direction. You're like, how can I make this work? And you change the direction.
Yeah.
And then you've branched it off, and you're working on something that you haven't even like announced really fully to the public yet.
Yeah.
Which is like, and I said that's basically what this pamphlet was. It was like, here's my situation. Now I'm going to find a way to make that work.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to use that situation into making it work in a better situation, to improve my situation, to make
To connect all of the situations.
right. And so, it's just like once I got done with this, you were the first person I thought of, and I was like, yeah, I appreciate this a lot. So,
and it made me feel like a bit of a dick because I didn't. It was an email that I saw was from you, and it was to multiple people. So
mhm.
my brain, my simple brain, goes to that. It doesn't get put on the priority of
Yeah.
my list of things to look at. So I
Well,
glance.
we also grew up in the era of forward this email to all of your friends, or you'll have 100 years bad luck. So,
That absolutely. That is correct.
Yeah.
and it probably didn't help that my subject line was in quotes.
Oh, what is it? As man thinketh. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it has a big thing that says external, and yeah, there's a bunch of names I don't recognize on here, so my mind immediately did that. But I mean, upon reading it, yeah, like you said, you gave me a huge shout out, and I really appreciate it, man. I just read it right before we got on here, and my wife and I, we were talking about this, like the idea that our kids, how there's so much talk in terms of making sure that they don't spend too much time on things, but at the same time, like they're doing stuff now at 4 and 7 that I had a pager at 16. Like my my best way to get a hold of me for the time was question mark phone number. Get to an actual phone because I didn't have one on me. Put that number in and see what it was about, just to see what it was for. So
Mhm.
my kids now, first of all, they memorize their passcodes. They're putting it in nice and fast. They know exactly how to get to what they want. Um, and my oldest, she still uses her tablet mostly for edutainment things. So it's interactive. She's learning. She's doing things. So, um, and just like what you're talking about, taking chances and in terms of your brain, like, the synapses or whatever it is, the little firing off, the lightning, the spark, like tho-
Mm-hmm.
it can't happen. And I think a lot of people put this in the category of manifestation, but it's like without you doing that certain thing or taking that risk or stepping into the unknown, your brain doesn't think it's a possibility. And so as soon as it's done, you now have that road that's paved. It's not only just an idea. You're not thinking of paving a road of trying to make that thing. You literally are just paving it while you're going. And then when you look back, there's a way for other people to go. So
Here's my take on manifestation. Like, I don't think if you sit in a dark room, and all you think about is a goal, I don't think
that
that's
is
good. I don't think it's going to magically appear. Because
true.
I think when people say manifestation, that's kind of what they think.
There's a cliche attached to it now, sure.
Yeah, no, but like manifestation is I need this. So as you go about your day and as your life, it's I need this, and that turns into how do I get this? Well, first I have to get that.
Right.
Well, how do I get that? You have to do this first. Well, what is that? Okay. So it's positive thinking that leads you into goal setting, small and large, which leads to maybe not even your final goal.
Right.
Because as long as you keep your grind, I think is the term.
Yeah,
If,
that toxic grind culture.
well,
Work
man,
all that.
and that's another thing. There's toxic grind culture where you got to be working all the time, or you need 17 side hustles to make it or whatever. And I don't think that's true either. Because I mean, look at us. We've been doing this for what, 18 years or whatever, and
But we're not
and,
it. So I say that again, we're talking about cliches. So it's the idea that work hard, play hard, right?
mm-hmm,
That's not really a balance because that's just
right.
go, go. That's not up and down. So if you're on that energy, then you probably crash and burn with frequency because your body is not going to be able to take that for so long. Just turned 40 this year. For sure, not trying to be in this 113-degree weather for much longer, but I have done it for 4 years running now. And so my body has become acclimated to the amount of carbohydrates and the calories that I burn. So at 40, my body doesn't break down. It's still going. And so I'm working with cats that are 25, 28, 30, and they're asking for water breaks. They're taking more time to do the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting myself at a certain level and I'm putting myself on cruise control at a high level. So it's like I'm operating efficiently and quickly and thinking ahead to where I take as much burden off of my customers and my clients as I can, whether that's the physical nature of buy to buy or just, work ironing out problems with people on this. Because did you ever think that when you met me that what we were going to do was going to look like this, was going to sound like this, was going to be as convenient as it has become? Like, I thought we would all have to be in the same place to do this on a high level for a long time. And then the world changed and then people adapted. So another thing, just streaming culture. Like, it is its own thing now.
Mm-hmm.
We used to laugh at Twitch. I remember seeing prominent DJs shun Twitch and Instagram Live and all these other things because of the static friction, because of the unfamiliarity, because of their privilege. They didn't want to. They're used to carrying around their tables everywhere, blah 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 blah. And now every prominent DJ I see has a Twitch stream and is monetizing it in some fashion. And it's like if you screenshot what they had said or the energy that they were focused on at that time and you copy and paste that now, it probably makes them laugh or they're embarrassed to see it. Because
Mm-hmm.
had they invested like I did in myself when I took a chance on myself, that's the reason I'm in a spot I am now, is because I had to go through all of those hardships. I had to learn all of that shit. I didn't need a pandemic to happen. For sure didn't need to learn through that. But 6 months in, the world flips over and you're just like, okay, how do I not fail?
Right.
And so my dad and I, when we had our show, we would talk about desperation. And so the idea that desperation creates an energy and a wavelength that is easy to find harmony with other people, and it is something that every time that I am in a space where people have a preconceived notion of what a mover is supposed to be, of what someone who looks or has the demeanor that I do, and I'm able to do something like this for them. Like the overwhelming positivity that radiates from them, whether that's in their delivery or in how they compensate me monetarily. I had to put a question out last week on my networking group. I got tipped as much as I charged them. And so I put the question out there. I said, at what point do you know you're undercharging people?
Mm-hmm.
Because my mind says I price myself competitively, so I have steady
Mm-hmm.
understanding that there are other people who overcharge, or in my estimation, overcharge. And so when you position yourself like that, people have their spidey sense up. It's active, right? They are apprehensive because of the lower cost, because of the good customer service, because of a good reputation. It's a weird thing to be considered
Mm-hmm.
liable, and that is a thing that people question before they meet you or they work with you. And then when they're done, like the people I shouted out earlier, they go out of their way to send you more business because they're like the overwhelming value you provide at the cost that you that it is that they incur. Like my father and I, we the desperation. When you're desperate, you'll work for less. So you position yourself for for the consistent revenue so that way you don't have to struggle. And so I got tipped as much as I charged. Probably should increase my price. Probably. And like we did extra stuff and there was other things that weren't on the inventory when we set it up, but like that happens all of the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And I don't know if we didn't record. Maybe it was the week we didn't record. I didn't get to tell you the story, but I had this. I told you about the fridges, right? That I had to move.
I
And,
think so.
and
Because last time we talked about work was the secret behind the bed.
oh no, this is a different one. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
this one had roach residue underneath the plastic cover to get to the nuts and bolts of the fridge doors to take them
Yeah.
off. I took those off and like I had to Clorox wipe the top of it down because when I was going to tilt the fridge to move it, all that was going to pour on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a surprise that they weren't ready for. So
Mm-hmm.
had a little bit to do with their embarrassment. But again, they bought a house that was, they said that there were hoarders. And so, like, they had to gut it and then they spent thousands of dollars cleaning it. And then this.
Mm-hmm.
So they went out of their way to thank me because I didn't make a big deal of it. I used to work for Rent a Center, bro. Like, seeing that is a reminder of Rent a Center. It's not like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, some things like that, you deal with those kind of things because that burden, the alleviation, the lack of worry that you provide to people, man. I got to put a price on it. I don't want to overcharge for it, but when people tip me like I got tipped this week, I was like,
Maybe it's time.
and so again, this is on the heels of a conversation with my mom where that oh I don't normally tip people who I don't tip laborers. Thanks, mom.
Fucking bullshit!
But yeah, that's just what it's tradition, it's privilege, it's convenience culture, it's all those things. So
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so the what you wrote in the email, did people respond to it? Did they most of you are like, who the hell
No,
are we?
no, I didn't get nothing.
Oh, nothing back. Okay. Because I posted something that I spent time on yesterday and nobody responded to it. And I was just like,
Well,
okay, cool,
I laughed.
cool.
I
Oh,
laughed at it.
very good.
Because no, you sent it to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't garner a response either, and it was just like, okay, it's just another one of those things. So
Yeah.
I had it in my mind, I put it out there, and it so on the heels of this, as man thinketh, just the idea that you put something out there doesn't mean it's going to be successful. My
Right.
business is still not the success it could be. The potential that I see it being, based off of the opportunities that are coming my way, haven't scratched the surface yet. But in terms of me and my creativity, it's gonna miss the mark way more often than it hits. And
Hmm.
something that you have to take. You got, and any creator knows that you have to eat that, and then just be ready for the wave that comes when it unexpectedly catches attention. Because it's one of those things that will, or that does. And so I'm just like, cool. Or it's something I can reference later on down the line when another thing happens, because another thing's for sure going to happen. And then I just keep repeating it, and I'm just, recycling, or what do they call that? Uh, Repurposing content. And so at some point, it might get way more attention than the none that it got previously. But the two that I sent it to outside of you before it were like, you for sure got to make something with this. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so it didn't have the value, the quality that I would like to, because I didn't get the time to my life and everything else going on.
Yeah.
It, just because I manifested it, just because uh, you know, I had the mindset to do all these things, doesn't mean that it's going to stick. It doesn't mean that there's a return on it that's worth the investment when capitalism and consumerism rule the day, and you're supposed to think that you need to make money off everything.
I think honestly, I think anxiety gets a bad rap.
In what fashion?
Well, so I mean, there's obviously anxiety disorders, and there's people that get caught in their anxious thoughts and things along those lines. But the best way I've heard it described was anxiety is worrying about the future, and depression is worrying about the past, just in simple terms.
Yep.
And a little bit of anxiety is good because it's risk mitigation in your
It's your fight or flight response.
right, and it's here's instead of sticking your dick in a meat grinder, you could probably be like
Yeah.
something 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 tells me that's not going to work out the way I'd like it to.
Right.
That's an example of good anxiety.
Sure.
Okay, but when it comes to making a business plan, and like you have to have a little bit of anxiety in it
Yeah.
for your because you're about to take a big risk, so you need to have an idea or what you think an idea of a potential problem is, so you can curb it before it happens.
Sure.
Which means as your actual problems come as you go, you have a little bit of leeway to actually work through your problems.
So what makes you think that anxiety gets a bad rep? Like, just the way people use it as a crutch, or
Oh yeah, like so, like I have, I mean, not to sound like a mental health dick measuring contest here, but like I have ADHD. I have I have what is it? Severe depression disorder. And I also have anxiety, like an anxiety disorder.
yeah,
So like I'm running the gambit of like most of the time.
sure.
And I think that a lot of people, this is not saying everyone, because there are people that need to work on themselves the best way they can, and sometimes the best way to do that is through medical intervention. So I'm not talking shit. I need to preface this, but I think a lot of people don't take what they were born with or what they have been given through their life, um, and find a way to use it as a tool. I think a lot of time they use it as a crutch and as a perpetual victim card.
Understood. Yeah. No,
Does that make
no, there's plenty of truth in what you talk about. I feel like I look at potential the same way you look at anxiety. So like, but in the opposite direction. So like, you think that
okay?
people overuse anxiety for the bad, or they give too much value to the bad and not enough to the good, because in terms of me and my experience, that nervous anxiousness, like the or I'm sorry, nervous. I would chop it up to nervous excitement. My anxiety
Okay.
is because you're talking about the future, right? So I would get this nervous excitement every before I went and played for a crowd. It could be the place that I've never played for before. It could be a place that is my stomping grounds. Doesn't matter. If I don't get that little spidey sense to go off, and the so for a place that I've never played at before, it's much higher than it is at a familiar place, but it feels the same. It's just less severe. So if I step into a spot and I don't get that feeling, there's a problem because
I get you.
I'm not going to perform my best because I feel too comfortable about not about I feel too comfortable about making a mistake, and I should be more anxious because I perform better.
And that's what I was talking about, is using it as a tool.
Right?
You know,
Exactly.
and you know, there are people who have more higher levels of that maybe have a harder time using that as a tool rather than a hindrance.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these I think a lot of these Twitter anxious people just like to
Sure. Because there's no comp.
whine. Yeah, and then it's clout farming.
Sure. But so like I said, with potential, I look at it the opposite way. When you hear the word potential, I feel like the general understanding is positive, but potential works
Okay.
both ways.
Yes.
Because you can be potentially successful, you can also be potentially dangerous. And so, like, just in terms of the 4th of July, like getting that bottle rocket, getting that M80, whatever the number is now, like,
Black
yeah,
cats.
or that you take on that risk, there should be a level of anxiety that comes over your body to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Because
Mhm.
you wind up like other people have with missing digits every year. This is one of the this is one of the busiest days of the year in the hospital, right?
Yeah, Jason Pierre Paul.
Jason Pierre Paul.
Fucking bullshit!
So, like, just the idea that people are super comfortable, and then you wind up seeing these videos that you see every year to where they let that there is a there is a preventable mistake made that
Mhm.
causes an overreaction in terms of fireworks going off all over the place, people bailing or whatever. Like there's always something that makes you chuckle, and it's at someone's expense because they weren't anxious enough.
Mhm.
So they only thought in their mind, they're like, the potential of me doing this is gonna be spectacular.
It's gonna be awesome.
But the potential is equally spectacular in a terribly harmful way. And we see that
Yeah.
in videos every year. So yeah, I
Right.
potential the same way you do anxiety, just flipped.
Well, yeah, no, it's you should always look at both sides of the coin. Always. Um,
But in terms of motivations, right? So
mm,
like me as a father of two, trying to set a good example for my kids, I'm not going out of my way to be entertaining the same way I would at 25,
right.
just get my wife at a barbecue with a whole bunch of other single or non-kid couples, right? Like
Right.
the way I pursue that is a lot more risky simply because of the environment I'm in, simply because I'm probably inebriated in some fashion. Like
Mhm.
there's no like I took the family up on the roof and we just watched everybody else shoot. We had sparklers. That was the gist of it. And so like I wasn't going to go out of my way to do anything else. And the we watched our neighbor behind us have
Mhm.
Roman candles and he had both of his arms up and he was just running down the street
Mhm.
fired off. And so it was entertaining. I got to see a glimpse of my 25-year-old self and what I would have been doing, but
Mhm.
it wasn't worth it. So I didn't get anxious about them getting up on the roof like my wife did. Like she was nervous about them and it's dark and they don't climb ladders for any reason. So it's like, there's risk, but I assess it and I don't get anxious because I understand that if we do only a certain few things, it should go over well, and it did. So
Gotta get them girls climbing ladders, bro.
I do. So speaking of the fourth,
Yeah.
such a loaded holiday. Um, the more woke you become, the less celebratory. The more you open your eyes, the more you see. So, what does Fourth mean to you at this point?
I think it's a great day to get together and watch colored, sparkly shit and bangs.
And bangs.
Yeah. I'm. I think a lot of that too is also because I'm getting more and more antisocial as I get older too.
So it's one of the
Um,
gatherings you use as an excuse to be social.
yeah, usually if I can, but
Fair. I think a lot of people, most people are in that boat.
this house is, even though we're right by the community center, is worse than the old house when it comes to fireworks.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I am a big time dog lover, and we have 3 dogs that don't like fireworks. So I'm like, I don't want to leave, and I don't want to leave them.
Yeah.
You know, um, I I put a reel up and took it down
Uh-oh. Eye roll.
because because hey, it was pretty funny. But so the girls were out in the backyard, and I was enjoying watching the girls run around and watch the fireworks. But it came to time for me to take the dogs inside and try and like sit with them and lay with them and calm them down.
Yep.
And I would have rather not have done that because I was watching my almost 4-year-old and 2-year-old in wonderment sprint back and forth in the backyard.
Core memory.
Yeah. And so Brittany, before she goes out to relieve Scarlett of her, make sure the girls aren't yelling at the neighbors or whatever duties, she goes, "Oh, I love that we don't have to go anywhere to see the fireworks."
Yeah!
Okay. But, my thing is, so I have Flash in his kennel because he can't be trusted outside of his kennel or just in the house because I'm pretty sure he has doggy downs and he doesn't train. And then I have my like Chewini, who's always by my side. But then I had her Australian cattle dog pit bull mix literally sitting on my head. Like, I'm like, yeah, these fireworks by the house are they're fucking great. I love it. So that was that was my haha. And then, so I am a dog lover. I'm not a dog person. I love my dogs. Like my dogs are my family too. That's I'm my mother's son in that aspect. That's who she is. That's who I am. Brittany is not that. And so when I'm having oh God, corral the dogs. Oh, we're going out of town. I'd rather not go out of town because who's going to feed the dogs? She's like, let's call your friend. Maybe they can come over or whatever. And so we differ.
So the anxiety you were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
is it a
Well,
crutch, or are you using that as a opportunity to expand your horizons?
well, we had my friend Kayla come over and take care of the dogs when we went to Flagstaff a couple weeks ago. So
Okay, but
yes.
just, just how you reacted, saying you're a dog lover and she's not.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't look at the anxiety the same way you would. She would look at it as, why don't you buck up? As man think?
I guess.
No,
But
just again, just get
okay.
it
Mhm.
out there so that way your brain can now hit that where it wouldn't have gone. It wouldn't have taken that direction. Now that it does, it's going to do something with that. And so you're going to watch this back, and you're going to see the correlation between the thing you just said, because it plays off. You're literally validating your own statement. So it's not a bad thing. But I see what it is in real time, because you're very anxious for your dogs for good reason. But that doesn't mean that she has to match your urgency,
Right.
because Colleen is very anxious every time we have a yard sale. Very anxious every time there's something to do with lots of moving parts, cars, people, whatever, right? But it's always from a perspective of her not wanting to be able to accommodate someone. It's always wanting to make sure that everything's out, that stuff's ready to go, da 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 da. There's like a perfectionist level to it. Me, I'm just trying to make sure that shit gets out there. If people want to come over and talk to me about it, cool. If they don't, cool. If they have a lot of questions about it, not cool. It's a yard sale, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Take a chance or don't. Like, I'm not here to scam anybody. This is stuff we're trying to get rid of. Would you like to take a chance? So, but she's not the same way. She'll negotiate, and she'll go out of her way. And so she has a lot of stress buildup in her body. She reacts to it that way. I don't invest the same energy because I don't see the same urgency in getting rid of our old stuff. The same way Brittany doesn't get up or is urgent about making sure the dogs are taken care of before you either leave for an extended period of time or during a national holiday when they're fucking terrified. So, yeah, man, like everything you said makes sense. It just depends on how you use it. So, this is an opportunity for you now to look at yourself and say, the level of anxiety that I have, should I use that as a way to be condescending talking about Brittany? Or should I see the opportunity that I should be more proactive in being prepared to take care of them as opposed to on the fly last minute? Because you know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth happens the same day every year. So it's like, it's one of those things to where you can plan ahead and make sure the dogs are ready to go or taken care of when they need to be. So that way there's no clamoring. That way there's no easy argument for something that you're just talking about, because you care about the dogs in a different way that Brittany does.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
But,
get our
but we also live in Arizona, so I couldn't just like take him out to a somewhere else.
work next to a young lady who, when I told her about my cat issues, that was her first suggestion. We'll just go drop them off in the desert. Period. And she's someone who's very vocal about social issues, about people's other opinions and stuff like that, right? And so it's like, but she draws the line at pets. Hard stop. Yeah, man. I saw that. I heard that. I was like, are you being for real? She's like, I've done it twice. Oh my God. I caught a 65-pound mahi mahi in the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico, and I had a hard time suffocating that thing.
Yeah.
Like, that left a mark. And so, yeah, man, I have that same kind of drive, or that same kind of empathy for soldiers, for pets, for anyone who is going to be triggered by loud explosions, just for the sake of them being. And so, on the heels of the Supreme Court doing what it's been doing, like, the popular meme I saw going around was, America fucked up on Friday and wants us to celebrate his birthday on Tuesday. Like, the motivation to celebrate for me this year was pretty low, on top of all of the things that people have to ignore just for their own personal enjoyment. To be awed at fireworks that we appropriated from a different country.
Shout out to China.
Fucking bullshit!
Yeah, man. Cray cray. So,
Yeah.
how long did it take for you to get over that anxiety? How long does that last?
Once the dogs calmed down, I was good.
You're with them. Okay. So you just matched her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And during that whole time, it's like I have to be calm. So maybe this dog will lay down, but then the dog doesn't lay down, and then it's not more of an anxious thing. It's more of like a frustrated thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Because the fireworks, went on until like 10:30 last night.
Sure.
So we had it ended up being Britt and I, Britt, Marley, Christopher, Ruth, Ginger, Loki, and I. And everybody except Ginger was in bed.
Wow.
Moving.
That's a lot of company.
Just a moving. With Ginger standing up on the bed with her face in my face, like,
Yes.
it was awesome.
Oh boy. Yeah. So, on the heels of our conversation about Juneteenth and then seeing everything with the fourth and, the way that people find reasons to just be to to show off their HPD to go, whether that's Ice T's wife or whoever else you come across.
Oh, did I miss Coco?
Yeah, apparently Coco wore a revealing outfit that yeah, yeah, Coco, the person who's made a living off of what she
Being
looks.
naked?
Yeah, like them finding cocaine residue in the White House. Yeah, man, been knowing.
Who was it? I think it was Warren G. Harding during Prohibition had a speakeasy in the White House.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me what so what hang on. You'll have to look up it was the bar tab for after the first inauguration.
Okay.
Like George Washington's first inauguration.
Yeah.
And then just read the grandiose amounts of just alcohol. See if you can find that.
Unreal.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
No, I know what you're talking about. I don't want to look that up because
Okay.
alcohol is another thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but we're
That you tie,
talking about
tie into the fourth.
elites excessively living.
Is that excess?
Uh, if you read that, you'll go. Yeah,
No, no, no,
it
no, no,
was
no, no, no.
it was pretty excessive.
It's okay, because any good party should have more than enough, right? There should be less because we've all
Was
been
that?
at one party that they were unprepared and didn't have enough ice, didn't have enough brew, didn't have enough whatever, and so that wound up taking away from the festivities. So if I am at a party and you just show up and there's just stuff everywhere, it's like high five, you're prepared.
This was what was consumed, not what was left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You also, you also talk about lack of responsibility, like the first president ever in a new country, dog. Come on, it's like the waste management open, and
No,
there's zero waste. So it's like, is it a big deal? Because those dudes do it just to watch golf, and I've been privy to it on many occasions, and it is a fun time. It is a fun time. So no shade on the first president and the people who the party goers, but
yeah.
I just wish that there had been a manifest that would show the amount of cannabis that they consumed, or cocaine, or other powders, or other things,
Yeah.
because people were obviously doing that as well too, just on the low, and
Who
not.
had the opium den?
Yeah, who was the where was the real party room?
Wherever Ben Franklin was. Because that dude, what a lush. The man had a lust for life.
Yeah, I didn't see anything crazy in my timeline. I just saw people dressed up and barbecuing and overeating and the things that we do.
Yeah, I didn't even like American flag pants this year.
Is that a normal thing?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
But again,
whatever.
even with all of the all of the facts, all of the negative things that people ignore in order to celebrate the 4th. Like, I will say certain things, or I'll post things, I'll share things on my platforms, but I'm not going out of my way to shun or to hate on people who are celebrating. Let them do their thing. I
Mhm.
choose not to. I choose to acknowledge all these other things in light of the celebratory stuff. We still had hot dogs last night. I had baked beans. I requested, like, she asked me what do I want. I said, you know what? I want some baked beans. Felt like 4th of July to me. I had a hot dog and some baked beans. That was it. Like, I still participated because I have kids and I have a family, and like, you can't live in this capitalistic country and not partake and be a consumer in some fashion. So I just do it on a very small scale. I don't take pictures. I don't share. I don't like. And again, I'm not negative toward people directly. I'm not taking personal shots at people. People make their own choices. If you celebrate 4th of July still, high five. Just like people who smoke cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. It's a net negative in my opinion and according to science. So people that choose to do it, they do it at their own demise. High five. Keep it moving.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then just try not to get too down about all the people who got murdered in mass shootings this past weekend. 30 some odd people lost their life, more people traumatized for the rest of their lives. Good old America. Buy more guns.
Okay. Well, you twisted my arm into that.
Oh, man. You haven't got like, you don't see anything. You don't see any of this stuff and get motivated to buy a weapon, right? Like,
No.
where do you draw the line? Because there was one person that I saw who is, who they are going out of their way to attach Black Lives Matter to for the sake of the exception, so that you cannot say that this person did not attack their own. So they are going out of their way to draw it up as this thing that it's not. When
So
the foot is on the other shoe, they immediately go to mental health.
mhm. It's all obviously mental health, but like when it comes to like me buying more ammo or maybe another gun,
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what's going
yeah,
on. I mean, like let me rephrase that. When it comes to purchasing a weapon for self, home, or hunting reasons, that's the only reason I go. That's
so
it. I don't.
nothing has happened recently that has made you clench your butt cheeks and go, I gotta get some weapons.
Nothing has happened ever.
Ever.
No, I have guns because I like them.
That's great, man. That's amazing.
That's
I respect
that's
that a lot.
there's a now it's an old Jim Jeffries bit, and the punchline to the bit is your only response should be "fuck off." I like guns,
Period.
and
Yeah.
here I am. Fuck off. I like guns.
Yeah.
That's because people are gonna do what people are gonna do regardless, and I'm just gonna live not violently.
No, let's
And
put it to the test. Let's put it to the anxiety potential test.
okay,
Because we're just talking about how we dislike for opposite reasons. The way that people use it as a crutch. So, in terms of anxiety, if someone is anxious about their personal beliefs and feel like they're being attacked by people they see that are different or lead different lifestyles than them, but they use that, but that anxiety manifests as aggression.
mm-hmm.
So they tap into that primal fight or flight, but then they fight unsuspecting passerbys
Yeah,
because they can't actually go after the people who are responsible, or they simply
they
think
are.
that who you look like you remind me of.
They're pusillanimai.
So yeah, so put it on the thing. Those people, are they anxious? I'll say yeah. But they're not anxious in a way that says I could potentially hurt myself. So, red flag, pause, rethink this.
I think a lot of them are, because instead of just self-deleting, uh, they choose to take it out on a bunch of unsuspecting innocent people.
So just put those two things together. An anxious person,
Mhm.
period. What's that result? Is it in a positive direction, negative direction?
I would
Likely
say that all. I would say that turns out pretty negative. Yeah.
likely negative, right? And then you take potential, a guy with a gun, girl with a gun, a person with a gun, potential harm or potential help. It's circumstantial, right?
Mm-hmm.
The anxiety attached to a gun, it's not circumstantial. Every single time an anxious person with a weapon is a bad situation. And so what the argument in terms of potential turns into, right? The only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is to match that potential in the opposite direction. Put a good guy with a gun until you get a coward, like that guy who cried after he got exonerated or whatever for not going and doing his job. Or
Dude
just
should have been drawn and quartered in the fucking street.
so
Fucking
but
bullshit!
yeah, so yeah, again, potential. The potential of someone with a gun and then add anxiety to it. So that's what it is. Maybe it's the equation. Anxiety plus potential equals help or harm. And more often than not, the answer is going to be harm because an anxious person with a gun is a bad thing. And the potential of a person with a gun depends on their anxiety. And if all of us are anxious about things in one way or another, it's up to us and how we do it. And the very few
Mm-hmm.
will choose to see a fire and run toward it because that's that nervous excitement that a fireman, that a police officer, that someone who is a first responder, they run toward danger, right? You're gonna tell me they don't fear, they're not scared, they're not anxious? Absolutely they are, but they use it in a motivating factor, like you were talking about, and so their
That was
help,
that's how we were trained
yeah,
in the infantry. It's where's the gunfire coming from? That's where we're going.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that has to be ingrained into you. That's not a default thing for many people. That has to be grilled into you without an option for the opposite. You don't get it, the dog. It is literally branded upon you to react that way. And that is against most people's nature. So, an anxious person with a gun doesn't have bang bang, they don't run toward it. They're a person that's normally anxiously shopping, and then they hear a noise and they're ducking or they're fleeing. So, yeah, I think that's just like HPD. On the back end of that, anxiety plus potential equals help or harm. And so you put HPD, another mental disorder, not some more mental health into the mix. Do they do things for
Uh,
attention? Do they sexualize things? Do they go out of their way to be easily influenced? And more often than not, you add all these things up and the recipe is the same. Disaster. As man thinketh, the potential to use that anxiety for negative things.
mm-hmm.
Not possible unless you got that gun. Or at least the potential is marginalized or minimized if it's a knife, which we're going on a trip to California as a family, and I'm potentially going to have more cash on me than I normally like to. And so I feel the need to carry. I
Okay.
the law is, I'm assuming it's a no no.
Well, so like a knife, or
A knife, yeah. Just a little pocket knife.
you have to be careful. 'Cause I think it's something.
A box cutter.
I'll bring you something. I got something I'll let you borrow.
Well, no. Oh,
I got you.
yeah. No, man, I don't want to. I'm not trying to cross any. I'm not. I'm literally not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm just thinking about the potential and again, anxiety, using anxiety for a healthy purpose, right? So I'm anxious
Mhm.
being with my family in public, exposed to anybody who has the combination of anxiety, HPD, right? So,
Mhm.
and it's at an all-time high as far as we know. So it's like I have a higher level of anxiety going out on a trip with my family than I do with myself because I feel like I can fend for myself more than I can for them. I feel like
Mhm.
they can be used as leveraged against me in a way that I can if I'm by myself. So I have a healthy level of anxiety in terms of just thinking about the potential harm, the situations that could come up, and preparing myself for to be able to respond, to not be a victim. So, because if a bang goes off and my family's involved, I want to be able to come to their rescue. I want to be able to come to their defense. So, it's a very simple, very straightforward thought. It's not
Mhm.
to have it on me so that way I go looking for trouble. It's if trouble comes looking for me, how do I respond? And
Right. Uh,
I,
and
I want,
that's how. That's and that's how I feel about the weaponage I have around my house. It's whatever I carry with me wherever I go.
yeah,
You'll also find that I have never said publicly what I carry with me as I go, or really what's truly around my house.
yeah. No, there's no reason. All that does is the
So,
potential draw.
well, that, and I'm not. That's something I think with weapons culture in general. The dick measuring is ridiculous. Like,
Bullshit!
Yeah.
what's Jake got at his house? None of your fucking business.
Who fucking cares?
Like,
Know that if you go
yeah,
to your house, you have a potential problem. Just know that.
yeah. This is a FAFO home, and the man that you wake up will be quite angry. He might not even get the bang switch out. He's a big fan of hammers. You hear me?
Big fan of Bang Bang.
I'm a big fan of hammers. I have in my crazy war brain fantasy. I've always wanted to take a man down with a hammer.
Okay.
So I have hammers also in just random places.
Okay. So why did you feel the need to share that and not
I
about
don't know.
the
The, the, uh,
that's your
the,
HPD coming out. That's what it is.
the spirit moved me.
Yeah. That's you wanting to get something out of people knowing that you have a thing for hammers. That's hilarious.
I gotta think for hammers, man.
We need to make a flag. There needs to be a "Don't tread on me" flag version.
I
I like hammers.
like hammers.
Ham- Well, you're at peak dad age right now. So it's like hammer time. Bring out the hammer pants. Throwback. It is now considered nostalgic. So
So there's a company that I've bought a few products from, and they this is my I can't remember their name. Sorry, but it's my weightlifting shoe, and then I bought a couple pants from them, and they're kind of like Zubas, but not. So I mean, they're nice and baggy up front, but so I just imagine a dude with some Zuba like pants, no shirt, and a hammer just flying down the
well,
stairs.
coming at you without the anxiety you expect
No,
of someone who is a victim of a home invasion. Like those people are usually terrified. You're coming out ready to go. Like you're looking.
just 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 with like just with like
Oh man.
an ancient bloodlust only seen in the eyes of Vikings since like
Oof. But that's again okay. So we're talking about potential. So clearly harm. All that's all harm. But
Yes.
where does that go in terms of your kids? 'Cause you got a lot of kids in that house.
That's the thing. That's if you are trying to enter my home where my family
No,
is,
no, I'm talking about
like,
their access to them.
oh no, there's no way.
Eye everywhere. They're
No, I don't have like guns under the couch cushions, but like, no,
I'm not.
everything.
You do. I'm just saying. Do
No,
they?
everything's in a real secure place that even if they reached through and touched it, they couldn't get to it.
Okay, awesome. No, I just again, it's just like it's a weapon. The intent is a weapon.
Yeah.
Kid, it's heavy and it has sharp edges. Problematic by definition.
Yeah, if they have a hammer, I'm like, what do you do with that hammer? Like, not to take the hammer and go put it away.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No, just a simple. That's a simple combo.
No,
These are for bad
I
guys.
am in, I'm in no way, like, I'm not. One of my great uncles we went and visited when I was like Ruth's age.
You got Benton blood in you, bro. We have established the level of animosity in your bloodline. So you having a bloodlust for hammers, it doesn't sound like a far cry.
Yeah,
It sounds like
but
something
like,
that the
did
dad.
you did you did you did you look at a Thomas Hart Benton after we talked?
No, but I knew of him before you told me this, so I know the gist.
Yeah, he's fucking rad.
Again, people problematic. Do not try to approach upon this person's domicile because it will not.
Yeah, but at the what was I telling you? So we went to one of my great uncle's house when I was like Ruth's age, and I ran up and jumped in his easy chair and immediately had a revolver. And then he was like, oh shit, and had to run around the house and pick up all of his guns and go put them up to where the 4-year-old couldn't have.
Uh,
So my home is not like that.
see, anxiety. My anxiety is way lower than hearing what you just said. So, and you're using a reason to be anxious about guns. You're using it in a positive manner. You're learning from it. You're still being proactive in terms of your bloodlust, but you're doing it.
in a safe and controlled environment.
Absolutely.
Fucking bullshit!
Yeah. So someone tries to come start trouble. They have a problem waiting for them.
Wrong house.
Yeah.
I was talking to Quentin. This was probably last year now. Shout out to Quentin. We haven't talked about him on the show in a while.
Yeah!
But he said something about, what would you do if all of a sudden there was the bang at your door and you know, it was just like a no knock raid at your house. I said, well, I'm taking a couple people to hell with me. Because once again, I mean, let's say I was served. If it was a hello, here's your paperwork. That fucking sucks, right? But if like a SWAT team just kicks down my fucking door, I don't know that's a SWAT team. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is no knock, blind, you know?
I hear what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I stories where people have shared your same passion, and they never come out it on the other side. Like it's
Oh,
never.
I wouldn't. I'm not saying it's something I'd come out of.
I You sound like you are not anxious about that proposition at all. I just think about your large family and
Yeah. I mean, it's.
no,
I'm,
there's no
yeah.
yeah.
They get over it. Just some counseling. You know.
Come on, Sheik, keep him in his place. This dude
just
is hilarious.
just some counseling. You know, not a.
Oh no, and that's the worst part, right? Is because your ingrained branded response is now address the problem, while Brittany's is like mine and many other people's, which is hunker down. Like if they're going to come in unexpectedly, barricade yourself in a
Right.
position because what they're not going to try to do is get themselves hurt. They're going to
Hmm.
excessive force to control the circumstance. But if you are unprepared and then a bang comes up and you have the mattress flipped up against the door, and you know what I mean, like, and you create a barrier to them getting to you, you open the door to an extended period of communication to where they can say
Hmm.
we have a warrant, to where they can say, because if someone is going to blow down your door like that, you've given them a reason to. They're not
Right.
just to do that, whether that's the mob or that's the government. You have coming, or you know that there's this option at any given time. So if we're going to talk about like a narcos situation, there's narcos investment. So
Yeah, and I've lived my whole life. No, not my whole life. My my I would say I've lived my whole married life in a way to make sure that that does not happen to me.
yeah, yeah, man. So I mean, you being someone who was in the military, it's not far
Mhm.
in my mind to draw up the circumstance where a relative, the seed of someone that was the opposition to you, tracking you down somehow, some way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like the far-fetched movie script of you having a situation that you're outlining, that you're talking about being prepared and addressing with a hammer. Like the only thing that I see that coming up
Mhm.
is you shooting someone on a
Yeah.
depot, and then that child or the cousin or whatever makes it to America and fucking tracks you down. Like it's got to be all of those things in order for the one thing you're talking about to add up, right? So
Mhm.
I don't see that being far fetched. However, the level of prep and how you respond to it, I think there's some wiggle room there.
Yeah, I'm
But if it was just you, dog, if it was just you, I honestly I wouldn't have any problem with it.
yeah. I mean,
I,
if I was on my own, I'd be far more crazy than I am.
I'm sure,
Like,
sure you'd be more adamant about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the inside of the Capitol would look real cool.
Oh,
And
Bullshit!
this guy. Uh,
no, I would have never been one of those fucking guys.
that almost made the lyric in my song. Uh, where were you at the insurrection? uh,
Speaking of, I watched Star Trek Insurrection today.
how was that?
It's not bad.
You know what? Oh, speaking of the fourth, you know what's
Fucking bullshit!
Independence Day was not available on any streaming service for free.
What? I mean,
Independence Day, dog, on the 4th of
yeah.
July?
Of course, they're gonna make some money on that.
That's the most capitalist shit ever.
Uh huh, dude.
Like you could you could
Yeah.
you could rent or buy it, but like Titanic was off of Netflix because it was a movie that is classic that does not need to take up space on their category, right? Oh,
Mhm.
fucking Ocean Gate happens, and Netflix Titanic is back on their featured page
Because there's a big sudden interest in the Titanic again.
because Celine Dion is getting checks aplenty right now. Because My Heart Will Go On is getting played by the people crying over billionaires and
Uh huh.
floating in a bubble. But
Boop, boop.
boy,
Oh, them dogs are having a good time. Someone's walking by the house again.
well, it is past 9 o'clock, so we are.
Well, I need to rest in peace, Greta Duck.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the Trump.
Wanna,
Still appropriate.
no, like I did a I didn't like do a full toxicology, cut her open and see,
Yeah.
because I don't have time for that. I got too many kids. And then if if one of my conscious children, aka my toddlers, would have seen me gutting a duck in the backyard, there would have been a lot of questions.
Baby,
Um,
baby Dahmers are born.
yeah, but no, man. It was looking like, because she liked to hunker down in the spot right in front of the pond. And it looks like she just hunkered down and then ate a bunch of the wood chips and choked.
Do ducks eat wood chips?
I would assume not
Really?
regularly.
I don't know ducks' diet. So,
Well, it's like, so she started getting blue spots on her bill. It looked like mildew.
okay.
And so, according to my research, it was like, oh, that's just because they're lacking a vitamin that's in lettuce and spinach and shit. So I
Okay.
was like, cool. So in the morning, they get their regular feed. And then usually before the sun goes down, I go out and I give them like, I throw a bunch of spinach in there just to, I'm doing what I can to keep my ducks healthy. They
Something.
also eat, they also eat rice and eggs and like scrambled eggs. They can eat scrambled eggs and shit like that.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. They're not full trash cans like chickens, but they're pretty close. But so like yeah, like I'm like meticulous about my chickens. I clean out their running their house and everything. I do that once a week, and I make sure because I don't want
Scurvy? Like what?
I guess like duck scurvy, but I can't remember. It's something you get from being around your own shit and dirty water and stuff. So I'm always making sure everything's clean.
Yep.
Always. Just for this motherfucker to choke itself to death on some wood. Because
Did,
like and you could tell it choked
yeah.
because like ducks have a yellow bill, right? So it was blue. It had cut off its own oxygen supply to the point where like the blood had ran into the bill.
So it just slowly suffocated.
Pretty much, yeah, it choked itself to death.
Oh, oh man. R.I.P.
So I am waiting for a Tractor Supply to get a hold of me whenever they get their shipment in. If they have, if they get more duck chicks in, so I can go get 2 baby chicks because you have to buy a minimum of 2. So I can put them in the run with my other duck, who is also a female, but her name is Thomas. And
So your ducks
because
they need to have.
yeah, she'll go crazy if she doesn't have companionship.
Gotcha.
So I figure if I get her 2 chicks, because ducks will adopt new chicks.
Okay.
So if I figured if I could go and I'll get her some.
The other one was a female as well.
Mhm.
Okay. So it didn't.
Yeah, and they're
It wasn't like a situation where.
well.
Stuff,
So you want to hear something? Nature, you crazy? So for every male you have, you need to have 5 females
okay.
because when a male duck is ready to breed, he is a vicious rapist.
Yeah, I thought you was going rape somewhere with this. I don't want to keep going,
Yeah.
but
So it has to go from
there's got
he needs to have more options, or he will rape a duck to death.
a male.
Yeah. Yeah. Nature, you crazy.
Yeah. All right. So you're getting
And
another lady duck because lady ducks will be fine.
they're cool together.
Okay. No, I'm just hoping it
But
wasn't a situation where, how when women don't like each other, man.
well, they were sisters.
Doesn't matter.
I know. I was just saying, like they got along. They got along great.
I'm just saying. I don't know if rape is that prevalent in duck culture as suicide.
It. I don't think so.
'Cause why else would you eat duck? Duck. Why would you eat? Why else would you eat wood chips? Unless you wanted to end it.
Well, I mean, like maybe there was like some beetles in there or something.
Man.
Thank you.
How long does it take for their bill to turn blue? That can't be quick.
No, but like
I don't know dick about shit about ducks, so it could be quick. I don't know, but my
No, but all I know is because her mouth was open and her tongue was hanging out, and then there was just a wood chip down there in the goozle. I was like, sweet.
oh, yeah. Hopefully, they just didn't have a bad relationship, and she was like, I just can't do this anymore. Wood,
No, so
quick wood.
I have to the little black ground beetles hang out by them
Yeah,
because duck poop is, I guess, delicious to the ground beetle. So she was probably trying to eat a beetle, and then
went too hard.
what was nuts is I bought a like,
Charcuterie board.
well, dude, I had the day before I had just bought them like a dozen goldfish
Oh man.
and put them in the pond because that's part of their natural diet too. So I got them some fish. I was like, see, your your diet's balanced. I'm making sure you're healthy. And this duck was like, fuck it. I'm gonna eat this wood.
I just got someone trying to eat a charcuterie board, and it's hilarious. That's what your duck.
Charcuterie board.
Yeah, your duck was like, "Fuck these beetles. I'm gonna eat the whole."
Mm-hmm.
Didn't come back. That's tough. How do you? Were you?
Yeah.
Do they have they formed bonds with these animals yet?
Who? My kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they were sad.
Oh yeah.
Did
I
one
mean,
come in and tell you?
well, so and then it brought up um because Ruth remembers my dog Cleo.
Yep.
Because I was talking about, I think we should take Ginger and Flash with us next time we go out to the farm. Yeah, and we'll bring Cleo too. I said, no. And so I had to explain to her that my dog was dead again. Then I got all sad, and then,
Wait, she forgot?
well, like I still don't think she just understands the concept of death. Like she's still waiting for the respawn.
The respawn. Very good.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
Because she knows what that is.
well, she's seen movies and shows
yeah.
where,
I come back.
you
No,
know, where like a certain actor is in one thing and died, but they're in a whole nother.
all I'm saying, if you're how old? 4?
Mm-hmm.
If
She'll
you're
be 4. Oh, listen, today's the 5th. We got 4 days. She'll be 4 years old.
if your 4-year-old uses the word respawn, there's a problem.
Yeah. We're not too big of gamers around
Yo,
here.
respawn. Damn, maybe you should stick off the. Maybe I should play Call of Duty without you. So ETA, how quickly are you gonna get a new duck? You said you're waiting on Tractor Supply.
Yeah, so they usually deliver live shipments today, but everything's a little backed up.
Yep.
So maybe tomorrow or Friday. So I will have new ducks tomorrow or Friday.
And do you have a name picked out?
Duck 1, Duck 2.
What was the duck's name who died?
Greta.
Greta?
Originally, Greta.
Okay.
Originally, it was Gertrude, but the girls couldn't say that. So
That is a strong name.
well, because like they're Pekin ducks and they walk like old people. So I was like, we gotta give them old folk names.
Gotcha. So you won't just input new duck and just give them the same name?
No, I'll let Ruth name one, and I'll let Marley name the other.
Nice. So Sprinkles and Cha Cha.
Yeah, Dookie and Shoes.
Don't say Dookie, bro. I had a chocolate lab named Dookie.
That's awesome.
And who named it? My fucking little brother.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking bullshit!
Like this guy. We had a German Shepherd. And I talked to this young lady in middle school for like maybe 5 days. And it was a little crush. Like she liked me a lot. We hung out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Again, we were like 12 or 13, whatever you are in middle school. And my little petty ass brother, we're going to get a dog. So my mom said, What do you want to name the dog? He named that dog Jessica.
Ooh,
And that was her name.
dang.
So before, like, I was done talking to her before the name stuck. Like, that's how fresh it was. And it was like, why would you name? And it was just pettiness. And my mom didn't care. And she was just like, why Jessica? And he made something up, and that was it. The real reason? Because it was some girl that I talked to for a short amount of time. And then he used it as our pet's name.
Wanted to rub it in your face.
And then proceeded to look at our dog that we got afterwards. It was a chocolate lab, and go, oh, it's brown. Call it Dookie. That's our dog's name. So, yeah. So you name your dog Dookie?
Yeah.
Or you have my full.
Dookie was a great album.
Yeah, it was. Great album cover too.
There you go.
Showing our age.
We're old.
So
But you're older.
Yeah.
all good. That's how time works. Threads. We're gonna talk about it all.
Yeah. Meta.
Like, you want it? Are you?
Yeah. Just my
you want
Hake Joward.
So I've got
Just
the Sober Swirl page yet?
It's so far it's looking like I can't do 2 accounts at once.
Ooh,
So
interesting.
I'm sure that'll change,
Right.
and I'll
Maybe we can do this there too.
yeah, if they put a option, I'd definitely be down.
So it's under the umbrella. So
Yeah. Why not?
we shall see.
The more eyes and ears to get our message out.
All right, boss. Anything else you want to
All
go
right. No, I think it's nap time.
over? Let's hit it at 10. Send us off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the Sober Swirl podcast. Once again, my name is Jake Hauer.
I go by DJ Swirl.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.
Until next week.
Bullshit! Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.